powerful is your business pitch? Is it an attention grabber? Does it have to be? In this episode, we're going to uncover the anatomy of a perfect pitch because we have an expert pitch designer in the house who's going to be talking to us about this. And you know that in business, you have to have a great pitch to engage people. But how do you really achieve that? If you want to know, don't miss this conversation because we're going to be talking about that in 30 seconds. Welcome to Waist Up Wardrobe. I'm Christine Vartanian, an attorney turned personal style expert and image consultant. As the founder of Jade House of Style, I am passionate about unveiling the inner confidence of my clients by developing their personal style and dressing them for success. But is getting dressed up still important in our virtual world? Well, that's where my experience can help with what I call Waist Up Wardrobe. Waist Up Wardrobe is a podcast for all things you need to conduct an outstanding Zoom meeting. It's about how to dress for the camera, but it's not just about the clothes. It's about everything you need to know to show up on brand and professionally for the camera. Join me in the Waist Up Wardrobe studio to discuss how to navigate this virtual world and dominate from behind the desk. Hello, Waist Up Wardrobe Nation. Thank you for joining us for yet another episode of Waist Up Wardrobe. And you know, we are on so many social media platforms. We're on iTunes where you can go and listen to us if you can't watch. And you can rate us and review us too if you're so inclined. We are on Instagram. We are on YouTube. You can really watch the show or listen to the show on any platform. And before we get started, I really need to thank my super awesome producer, Rick Moscoso, who's always in the production room. And there he is peeking his head, his avatar head, always in the production room, making this show impeccably possible and just making it so smooth. So thank you, Rick. And I also need to thank the audience who's always listening to the show and tuning in to learn more about how to show up on camera at your very best in business. But it's not just about clothes. It's about how you put your best face forward on so many other levels, whether it's mindset, whether it's business savvy, whether it's clothes or makeup or hair, or branding. We bring it all to you to show you how to work from home, work from a camera, and be your best professional that you can be. So today, we're going to be talking about the power of your pitch. And, you know, marketing is such a broad topic. And our guest today is an expert at it, but we're going to be focusing in on that pitch, that powerful pitch that every business owner should have so that they can really engage people with what they do and help them understand what they do and how they do it. Have you guys ever been to like a networking group and, you ask somebody, what do you do? And then they explain what they do, but then you kind of leave confused and you're not really quite sure exactly what they do. Yeah, we never want to be in that position. And it's easy to be there because sometimes it's really hard for us to articulate concisely in an elevator pitch what it is we do. But today, Lisa is our guest today is going to explain to us all her secrets, and maybe not all of the secrets, but a lot of things that will get us started in really trying to compose our powerful pitch. So I'm just going to go ahead and introduce Lisa. And I hope I'm pronouncing her last name correctly, but it's Lisa Raybell, and she will also correct me if I'm wrong. But she is the founder, author, and speaker, and chief storyteller of Rebel Girl Marketing, where she has developed her proprietary Rebel Mindset approach to help businesses stay in business with the marketing strategies that she has designed. And she has over 25 years of doing this kind of thing. So she's got the experience in the bag. Lisa's book, entitled The Rebel Girl's Guide to Marketing, Stop Committing Random Acts of Marketing, emphasizes the importance of creating a positive first impression through attention-getting power pitches. And she believes that everything is marketing, from how you answer your phone, which I completely agree, being in the branding space, to your final conversation with a customer. Her ability to help professionals make a great first impression sets her apart in the world of marketing. And she is passionate about teaching others the benefits of that rebel mindset. So please help me welcome Lisa to the show. Hi, Lisa.
Hello. How are you?
I'm doing great. I want to make sure that I pronounced your name properly. So can you You said Rabel?
Rabel.
Rabel. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's the play on words, right? That, rebel
Exactly.
marketing, right?
Yep, exactly what happens. My brother-in-law calls me the rebel of the Rabels. So when I was trying to figure out what to call my company name, that popped in my head as I'm driving down 94, So it was, yeah, it's fun.
Yeah. And you're tuning in here from Wisconsin, right?
Yep. From the
Yeah.
Milwaukee area. Yep.
Awesome. Okay, we're really excited to dive into this really important topic that really every entrepreneur always kind of toils over, right? The idea of that great pitch. But before we get started, I want people to get to know who you are. We've already established you're from the Midwest, but I'm going to ask you like a couple of this or that questions and just answer them and give us a little bit of a reason why you answer that way. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Hiking or swimming,
Hiking.
and why?
In Southeast Wisconsin, we have so many parks. They're beautiful, and the topography is, we've got lots of hills and valleys, and obviously in the fall, it is absolutely just breathtaking here. So I like hiking in all kinds of weather, even in the winter months, as long as it's not super cold. It's a great way to get outside, and I'm telling you that the natural air, like going out and breathing the outside air, is the best way to get your creative juices flowing.
Ugh, I totally agree. I every morning when I wake up, I open the door to my backyard, and there's something about standing in that cold, crisp, fresh air that when you breathe it in, it just feels like just you feel like the aliveness, right? My
Yeah.
kids are always complaining that it's too cold. I need to shut the door, but I get my little 10 minutes in the morning before I wake. So, yeah, I totally understand. And being close to nature, of course, it does help those creative juices flow.
Yeah,
Okay, well, that's
absolutely.
interesting. So, how about cats or dogs?
Cats.
And tell me why.
Well, I have 3 cats. They're all rescues. Normally we're a 2-cat family, but when I went to get our second cat, the little brother was there, and I couldn't leave him in the cage by himself. So my husband's like, "Wait, what happened to just bringing home 1 cat?" But the second cat, even though he was like this big when I got him as a rescue, he's now 22 pounds, and his name is Dave. So Dave the cat is quite the feature in our house when we have company come over. They're always
Wow.
like, "That's a cat? Is that like a bobcat or is that like a regular cat?" I mean, it's so funny.
And he's a lap cat, I heard too.
Oh yeah, yeah. So there's like this whole funny thing on social media right now. This is I can't go to work. I got a cat on my lap. There's like a whole song about it and stuff that
Okay.
people are doing, and it's just so we call it the COL disease. Like, oh, could you give me another cup of coffee? I have COL disease. Like I got cat on the lap, so I can't get up because God forbid we disturb the cat to get up and go grab like another cup of coffee or some popcorn or something. Yeah.
Oh man. Well, we know. Oh, Kristen Levine is here, and she's actually a pet influencer, and she's saying cat lovers unite because she's a cat mom too and a dog mom. So thank you for being here, Kristen. Okay, we're gonna dive right in. Thank you for sharing some of that stuff, Lisa. One of the best things is to get to know our guests on a personal level because we do own businesses, but it's nice to see what's behind the scenes. So
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah. So I'm going to ask you a very general question, but I don't expect a general answer. Um, you can take it in any direction you want. How
Okay.
important is marketing in your business strategy?
So, according to Forbes magazines, there are 4 main reasons that businesses fail in the first 5 years.
Mm.
So, according to labor statistics, 50% of new businesses fail within their first 5 years. So, Forbes said that there's 4 main reasons. One reason in its own category is marketing. Failure to do effective marketing is one of the main reasons. And so that's one of the reasons I wrote the book is because I want to help small businesses stay in business because we might have taken a marketing class in like high school or college as an entrepreneur. Not all of us have marketing degrees. So when we try to do marketing, it feels like this big elephant, right? Like this big, huge marketing and sales. It's so big and scary. And what I do is I just break it down to its lowest common denominator. I get rid of all the noise that's out there and all the books and the articles. And I help you figure out what's right for your business. So marketing is literally how businesses stay in business. So I'm going to say it's extraordinarily important. And that's not even speaking from a marketing geek perspective. That is actually speaking from Forbes themselves.
Yeah. So, there's marketing. I mean, you really hit the nail on the head. Marketing is important, but marketing strategy is even more important, right? Because it's not just the idea that you have to market, and not all marketing is right for every business. Do you agree with that? I'm not an expert, but would you?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%.
So strategy is really important. How you do it, when you do it, all those moving parts. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely. Actually, my main focus in Rebel Girl Marketing is being a marketing strategist for small businesses. Because if you can have the perfect message, but you getting it to the wrong audience at the wrong time, it falls flat. If you have the right audience at the right time, but your message is bad, it still falls flat. So strategy is extraordinarily important when it comes to doing your marketing well, especially with small businesses. They don't have a huge budget, right? They don't have $100,000 to spend on research to find out what the best message is, like a lot of these big businesses do. So helping them understand that and get rid of the noise so they can just focus on like what works for them is the heart and soul of what I do.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And as we're talking, this question comes up in my mind because I'm curious. I've seen businesses or heard of businesses that would say that, I don't market, it's been referral based, all word of mouth. Do you view that as is there truth in that in some businesses? Or is that a mistake? And I don't know if the question is clear enough, but it always is remarkable to me when people have not done a ton of marketing, but really reached some high successes.
Yeah, I mean, people can absolutely build their business on that, but I would still say referral base is still marketing because you have to make a good impression on the person who's referring you. And so I have an entire training called Networking on Purpose. And part of that networking on purpose is the referral based aspect of things. Because the number one mistake people make in networking is, aside from the pitch aspect of it, is they try to sell to the person who is right in front of them.
Mm.
And so what's happening is the person that's right in front of you you're there just to tell them how you help and the problems that you solve. You're not there to sell to them, because that's one of the things I want people to get rid of. I want you to completely 100% get rid of the words elevator pitch and sales pitch. Just get rid of them, because nobody's going to buy from you in the first 30 seconds that they meet you.
Yeah.
Right? And
Right.
everybody on their elevator today is looking at their phone. Nobody's talking to each other anyway. So I want you to call it a power pitch. I want you to be so powerful and so interesting that people can't help but ask questions and start a conversation with you. That's the whole point of a power pitch.
I love that. And it is so true, because people, they can see through. If somebody's trying to sell them hard, they can see through that,
Yeah.
right? You need to get them to, basically, you need to create the relationship, right? Or just, if somebody's asking, you just let them know a little bit of what you do, and then it's up to them to kind of make the next move. Is that a decent way to describe it?
Yeah, absolutely. You actually touched on it earlier in the introduction when you said that you asked somebody, so what do you do? And you still don't know what they're doing when they get done talking, right? So there's 4 things that I ask people to avoid when they do their pitch. And the reason I'm saying these things is that we learn from our own mistakes a lot of times, right? I'm not sitting here thinking I'm perfect and I do it the right way. Oh no, I've done years of doing it the wrong way. And so that's what I'm doing, is I'm teaching people how to do it the way that is the most effective. So there's 4 things that people avoid. The first one I call the show up and the throw up. That's when you say, so what do you do? And the person like 2 minutes later is still talking. You know their pets' names, their kids' names, what they're doing that weekend, their entire resume, right? And like a minute, like within 15 seconds, you're like, where can I go? Who else can I talk to? What do I need to pick up milk on the way home? Like people stop listening.
Yeah.
So we want to avoid that. But the other one you talked about too, that people always say that you don't know what they're talking about, are the subject matter experts. And their answer is so industry driven with jargon and abbreviations and things like that, that you're just like, yeah, I still have no idea what you're talking about. So, I mean, that's the whole point, is that you want to make that first impression so intriguing that people just start a conversation.
Yeah.
Especially in the virtual world that we live in right now.
Yeah. Well, I'm curious, because you said 4 mistakes. And you just listed two.
Yeah.
I know. I'm paying attention. So can you give us a little like
Yeah. So another one is the people who don't say hardly anything. Like I've literally, this is a conversation I had in a networking event. I'd say, so what do you do? I'm in sales. Great. Who do you work for? ABC company. Okay. Like you're like, come on, give me something.
Yeah.
Right. So we don't want to do that either. And then the last one is something I'm super passionate about is people start their sentences with, I'm just just a salesperson. I'm just a marketing person. I'm just a this, I'm just a that. You immediately put yourself lower than the person you're talking to and show that you don't have any confidence in yourself and you don't create a great first impression. So the words I'm just a should be completely removed from your vocabulary as well.
I love that advice because like you said, we are all guilty of these things as we're trying to form that power pitch during the career of our in the life of our businesses, right? It's
Right.
hard. You are somebody who studied it and made it your life's work to really help businesses be able to create those perfect pitches. But we've all had those challenges in creating our perfect power pitch. Kristen Levine is saying that she's guilty of not being the one that doesn't say enough. And if Kristen, if you're still here, I would love to understand if you could just throw it in the comments why that is. Like, is it because just your personality, or is it that you just feel like it should be easy to understand in just a few words, or are you shy about it? I would love to know what your mindset is when you've done that. But I love, Lisa, that you've outlined these 4 things, because I will tell you that I've witnessed them all. I think all of us in business have witnessed them all. But one of the things that always was my pet peeve, and I'm sure, this is not something that people do in a way they're not aware of doing it. But the thing is, in the business world, there's so many coaches. There's like the coach of everything, right? There's a life coach and a divorce coach and a business coach. There's so many different types of coaches.
Mm-hmm.
And one of I think the biggest mistakes that I've witnessed and realized just how hard it is to understand what somebody does is when they say that they're a life coach, or really generally say they're a coach, because it's such a vast group of people. And if you're not really making yourself stand out, like, why would I hire you? Right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's so funny because a good friend of mine is a life and leadership coach. And so I have coached her and mentored her and helped her figure out what that looks like, because she would do one or two things. And she totally knows I do this. So I pick on her all the time. But she does this thing where she's like, she goes up to people and say, I'm a life and leadership coach. And then she doesn't say anything else. That's that whole like not saying enough words.
Yeah.
That's one of the 4 you stop doing. Or she's a subject matter expert where she's been doing this for so long that she's like, I take people through this inside out journey where they can do this self-discovery. And I'm just like, no, that's very life coachy. Stop.
Yeah.
So, we found one it's funny because she has a great sense of humor. And she just basically says, I unconstipate your mind so you can be you.
Yeah.
And people go, you what? And then it starts a conversation. It doesn't have to be long. It doesn't have to be like super professional. I think what we've gotten away from is having fun in business.
Yeah.
Laugh. It's like one of my core values. I mean, like I want to laugh really hard every single day. And so that's why it's behind me, because we stopped having fun in business.
Yeah, no, exactly. And the reason we started our business is most business owners who started their own business have gone on this entrepreneurship road, do it because they have a passion for it. They do it because it was born of something that they strongly, firmly believe in. And so it should be fun, because we want our work to be like play. So it has to be fun. Otherwise we kind of lose track of our mission, right?
Yeah.
So what is the secret sauce for a perfect pitch? And I also understand this is a very broad question, but if you can give us like 1 or 2 thoughts or ideas around that, I think it could be very helpful for the audience.
The main point of having a great pitch is it has to be relatable to the person you're talking to. It doesn't matter if you like it and you think it's perfect. If the person you're talking to doesn't get it, It's pointless. And so I love this example because it is, everybody can relate to it. So I did the Power of Your Pitch training for a young entrepreneurs group. And this young man came up and he was a handyman. He just started his business. He was so excited. And so I had him do his pitch and he was like, oh, well, I clean gutters and sometimes I fix the gutters. And sometimes when I'm up there, I have to fix their roof. And like, I do landscaping, but I do a lot. I don't like landscaping as much, but I can't do much electrical, but I love to do. And like, he was going, so you know that scene from Forrest Gump where Bubba tells Forrest all the ways to make shrimp on the bus on the way to the camp, right? That's what it felt like. And I do this, and then you do this and this, and he just kept going on and on. That show up and that throw up, right?
Yeah.
So I took him through the entire training, and his pitch ended up being, my name is Nate. I'm a handyman. I do everything on your home to-do list you hate to do.
Love that. Oh, it is catchy too.
That's it.
Yeah.
And I would say there's probably two things on your home to-do list you want. Can I have Nate's number? Right. So the secret sauce is that it has to be relatable to the person you're talking to. Everybody has owned a home or has an apartment. Everybody lives someplace, right? And something has gone wrong within that place. So a handyman, people know that is. And so like, he's very specific about like, this is how I solve your problems. I help you get more time on your calendar by doing the things you don't want to do. Like it perpetuates a lot of different things.
Yeah.
And so I love that because that solves the problem of it has to be relatable to the audience that you're talking to.
Yeah. And if I were listening to that pitch, the part that would relate to me is my to-do list. I've got a long one and I can't do it all myself. And that is the relatable part to me because wait, I have not, and I just as like a aside, but I have not been able to find a handyman in a long time since after COVID. So,
Yeah.
So it's like, if I can find somebody to help me with my to-do list around the house, oh, it would be wonderful. No, I think that really hits the nail on the head. It's not only like those words are pretty concise, but they pack a big punch, right? They really a big bang for your buck when it comes to words. And that I could see how that could be really important. And, that's what a power pitch should be. It should be make impact and hit and resonate, right? And land with the person you're talking to so that they get it. Because I like I said earlier at the top of the show, and you reiterated, it's always surprising to me how I would say 70% of people I talk to when they're talking about their pitch, I walk away and I don't quite have a grasp of what they do.
Yep.
Or I've categorized them in a large group and I like a coach. They're a coach. Okay, they're a coach. Right. So it is really important for that to pack it in with concise words, but to kind of get the point across, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So I have a business coach also that I've helped. And what we found out with him is that he was a data guy for the long time, but he's a business coach now. And so the superpower is kind of overused, but it's like his superpower is that he's a good business coach and he has the data to prove it. But then when we came to do his actual power pitch and write that, I kept asking him why. Like I become like a 3-year-old. I just why, right? And so it's a lot based on the Simon Sinek why, the find your why, you start with why. And it's about like, why did you start your business in the first place? And I'm telling you, can you guess what the main reason that people is the first reason they say that they want to start their own business? Can you think of what that is?
Because they hate their first job.
Yeah, that one. But money, it's good money. Money. But quite honestly, money is a tool to do the things you want to do. And it's a good motivator, but it's never your why, because there's a lot of things you could do for money that are illegal. They can get more money faster. So it's not always money. It's not money. And so when I've done the whole why thing, the business coach said, when I started my first business, I was only 14 because both of my parents worked and I was left home a lot. And I made a lot of mistakes. And he's like, I'm a serial entrepreneur because I keep making mistakes and I have to restart businesses. And he goes, but if I had somebody like me when I was like 14 and 15 years old, my life would look a lot different right now. And I want you to not feel like you're alone in creating your business and learn from the mistakes that I did so you can succeed faster.
Yeah.
That's a powerful differentiator as a business coach. Like you said, coach, right?
Yeah.
And so it's really interesting to do the power pitch with people, because people don't understand that their why of why they started their business in the first place is their differentiator.
Yeah.
So I have another consultant who is a roofing consultant and did the same thing with him. I had to dive down quite a bit with him. And he said, I love leaving a project knowing that the people inside are safe.
Yeah.
So it's not just about construction. It's not about that. It's about knowing that he's literally saving people's lives by making sure that the building and the roof that people are working in are secure and safe, because then
Yeah.
he knows what's going on. Yeah. So your why is your superpower. Your why is your differentiator.
Absolutely. And so that's part of the reward, right? His desire to build in safety for people. And I always say that when people tell me that their why, if I'm like masterminding with somebody and they said the why is the money, I always say, well, that can't be the why. The money actually is a byproduct. It happens if you're doing something you're very passionate about.
Yes.
If you are involved in a business where you can't wait in the morning to wake up to start doing again, I
Mhm.
mean, money just flows from there. That's my
Yeah.
opinion. What do you think?
Absolutely agree. I preach that all day long.
Yeah,
If you have a great client experience and you build your marketing and your sales process to have such a great client experience, the clients will show up and the money will come.
yeah, yeah. So I'm still trying to convince my children of this because, I have multiple kids that are finance driven. One is working toward, he's a finance major and working towards his MBA. And they talk about money a lot in finance, right? And I told him, well, but you just have to love what you do. And he's like, okay, mom, no, I have to go out and make a living. I have plans. I have to buy a house. And I told him, well, all that will happen as long as you make sure that when you wake up in the morning, you're happy to do it. And they always make fun of me because the other day I was talking to one of my other kids and she said, Mom, what is success? I'm like, that you're happy to, and she said what it was. Oh, you're going to say you have to be happy in what you do. And I said, exactly. But anyway,
Yes.
so that's so funny. I wish more people, as they are growing and being educated, can be taught that. I think as entrepreneurs in the entrepreneurial world, we're exposed to a lot of that because we do trainings and we listen to speakers. But I don't think it's really ingrained in the youth as they're growing.
Mm-mm. No,
Yeah.
it's not. And the reason I started my own business is that I was so tired of being stuck in a box and
Hmm.
being told what to do, what to say, how to say it in corporate America, that I'm just like, oh my gosh, I lost who I was. Like
Yeah.
literally forgot who I was. I forgot to have my own voice. And again, another reason that's called Rebel Girl is to remind myself every day to be my authentic self and show up as who I am and be very unapologetic about it. Polite, but unapologetic.
Absolutely. I call that being audacious. In business, it requires you to be audacious. That's kind of
Yes.
my word for the year. You have to have the guts to know you're going to do it and you can do it. And it's kind of similar to that sort of rebel mentality. In image consulting, as you know, that's the core of my work. I do a lot of image and brand work with my clients. We say first impressions are everything. It's documented. There's statistics around it. People don't like
Yep.
that they get judged by the way they show up in business, but it is about how people receive you and human nature. So can you relate that to the work you do, or sort of the pitch being like, is that like your words, can they be your first impression?
Oh, absolutely. 100%. There's somebody in my network that's that's writing a book. It's called Words Effing Matter, and the word effing is there. Um, because it really does matter. I mean, it matters because what happens is that if I came on here and you said, "So Lisa, what do you do?" and I said, "I'm a marketing consultant." And I just sat there and did nothing else, you'd be like, "Oh, great. She's got a lot of personality." But marketing people are weird and they're funny and they're kind of scatterbrained because of the creative aspect of marketing. And so it's okay to just be your authentic self. I mean, because what happens is that I have a bit of a sarcastic sense of humor. And so it's what I love to do is I love to test people, not test them, because I think that's rude, but I like to say something to see if they get it. But I also like to test my prospects because quite honestly, there's a couple of them that I probably wouldn't have hired on as clients. And I'm saying that intentionally. I hired them on as clients because as an entrepreneur, it is our sole right to say no
Yeah.
to clients that don't fit within our ideal client profile. And so I gave him a test though. I said to him, I want you to go back to the office and I want you to say thank you to 3 people in your office. And then I'm going to call you on Friday and make sure you did it. I said, but don't do it because you think you have to do it. Do it because you mean it. Think about it. Who are those 3 people going to be? So I called him on Friday and he said, I go, did you do it? And he said, yeah. So 1, I learned he was coachable. And 2, I said, how did you feel about it? He said, it felt great. And I should have done that a long time ago. So I knew he was caring. I knew he cared about his people, which means that his between demographics and psychographics, like demographics are medical and the psychographics are that he cared and he did it. And so it's really important to know those kinds of things.
I think that is brilliant. Actually, I love that. That it was sort of like a subliminal test that gave you information, right? But that is really, really, I'm going to try and devise something like that for myself. I think that's really, really great. And I hope the audience picks up on that one because that could really be really helpful. I was going to ask a question. I just escaped me, and I don't like that when that happens. But
that's okay. While you think of that question, I'm going to give you a question you can ask that I love. So I was a marketing director for a recruiting company for many years, and one of the questions they like to ask people is, "Do you like to cook or do you like to bake?" Okay. And it's a simple question, but it tells a lot. If they like to bake, they like measurement, they like known outcomes, they like, if I do A plus B, it will equal C.
Yeah. Yep.
And when you cook, it's kind of like, oh, I'm just going to throw in a little bit of this and a little bit of that and see what happens. And
but
so
not necessarily either is bad. It's just like, what are you looking for, right? One's the creative, the free spirit creative, and the other one's the more technical and analytical, right?
Absolutely. But then you know how to approach them.
Yeah.
So in marketing, I come with ROI and data to the people who are like more the bakers, and with the free flowers, it's like, let's brainstorm and have a lot of ideas and mastermind and try a bunch of stuff. And so it helps you understand how your client thinks.
Yeah, no, I think that's so brilliant. Would a question about I always think there's like these 2 different like dichotomies like this, right? Cooking and baking. I personally like to cook. I don't like to bake. So I think that gives you a little insight into me. I just don't like the preciseness with which you have to be because I guess I'm more creative. But I also am the type of person who likes high intensity physical exertion rather than that long marathon. I like to go really hard, really, really quick. And so I feel like those are 2 different types of people too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So, but people don't like when I say this, but marketing is a marathon that never ends.
Yeah.
Because you can't just, and that's one of the things that mistakes people make. They do like a quick hit and then they move on. And then it's like, but it's the consistency and of the messaging and the locations and all those other things. Like, and so you're going to attract the people that you put out there. So, and again, one of the chapters in the book is just about like how to hire people to attract your team. Using language of the kind of people that fit your culture is super important. So when I say everything is marketing, because I literally think everything is marketing. And it's not like, oh, she's a marketing geek, so she says that. But how you pull into the parking lot will tell you the kind of person you're. Are you on time? Are you prepared? Everything that you do in a day and an interaction leads a perception of what people think of you. And that is your own personal brand.
Well, that's interesting that you say that because as a an expert that works with branding and branding my clients, I always say, I'm seeing those similarities between brand and marketing, right? Like it's almost like branding is marketing and marketing is branding. I always say that branding is style. So it's the style that you do everything in, whether it's how you act, how you talk, what you drive, how you drive, all those things are sort of your brand. People will look at that and see, how you're dressed, how you appear on camera, all those things that really translate into your style, which is also marketing.
Yes. Yeah. I think it's Jeff Bezos who says that branding is what people say about you when you're not in the room.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's really amazing. Good point. So, a lot of people kind of formulate their elevator. I'm not going to call it elevator pitch because I know that's the word.
I forgive you.
Their power pitch. I have to do some, brain tattooing here and change some ideas. A lot of people formulate that power pitch for the purpose of networking. But do you think that a power pitch can be used at all times, any times, or what's your opinion on that? Is it strictly just for networking?
Oh, not at all. I mean, your local, like we have what's around our neighborhood. We have what's called the TGIF, and somebody hosts it. We come over, and it's like once or twice a summer, and that's networking, but it's also socializing.
Yeah.
And so if you're out, when I'm out to dinner with as the corporate wife, right, for my husband's business and stuff like that, they always ask me what I do. I'm not there to sell anything, but leaving a good first impression is extremely important. I've literally gotten businesses out of my husband trying to get business
Yeah.
because I showed up. I knew what I was going to say. I knew exactly how to answer it. And a pitch is a conversation starter. I kind of want people to change their mind in that too. No, I don't I want people to change their mind that a pitch is not a selling point. It's literally, how do you start a conversation that's going to be a great conversation? Because great conversations lead to meetings and meetings lead to sales.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And the conversations are so important because you also want it to be, you don't want it to be I, right? So people tend to, when they are thinking about their pitch, they're talking about themselves, but really, like you said earlier, being relatable is really maybe taking the focus off of self and more towards the person that you're talking to.
Yeah. So when I'm talking to business owners, my pitch is this: as a marketing strategist, it's my job to make sure that your clients and prospects need what you sell, they think of you first.
Mm,
It's about them and solving the problem of brand awareness and sales and all the things that business owners worry about. And the only thing I ever say about myself is that I'm a marketing strategist, and that's how I help.
yeah.
My
Yeah.
pitch is specifically about how I help small business owners create better marketing.
And I think that's a really important point when you're trying to formulate sort of that conversation opener that we call pitch, right? Power pitch. So I think that is really important to know as as we're continually really honing our
Yeah.
power pitch. I mean, people's businesses also evolve. So it's like you're always really honing it and possibly adding to it or just eliminating stuff from it. So it is something that we constantly need to be thinking about. I find that, of course, some of these that you mentioned were just so interesting. And I think that can be really a key element of the pitch itself, like just the way you say it, the words you use, the play on words can really help engage, wouldn't you say?
Oh, absolutely. Depending upon which study you look at, 70 to 90% of your communication style is nonverbal.
Yeah.
So how you stand. And so when I have a podcast called The Rebel Girls Guide to Marketing, and I just got done talking about how you stand, where you hold your hands, inflections, if you go up at the end of the sentence or down at the end of the sentence, all have something to do with how people perceive you and how that works. And so what I love about that is that you can practice that.
Mm.
You can work on that. You can practice that. I mean, I was in forensic speaking in high school and college, and we called it talking to the wall. And so you practice your presentation, literally talking to the wall or a mirror or another person. But at the same time, it's like you need to practice it. It's not something like somebody says, "So what do you do?" And you just kind of go, what do I do?
Yeah.
Um, And so you just wanted to like, you don't even have to think about it. It's just, you've practiced it so many times that it just rolls right off your tongue. So I also believe you need to have a fun one.
Yeah.
So my fun one is I'm the Nanny McPhee of marketing.
Yeah.
And people always go, well, until Disney catches up with me. But it's that thing where people either go, who's Nanny McPhee? Or they go, really? How is that? And I always say, I help my clients as long as they need me, and then I'm gone. And because what happens is that when you think about it, if you say you're a consultant, people go, oh gosh, I'm going to sign this long-term contract. She's going to be dragging on. She's going to be here forever, blah, blah, blah. Right. But what it's really all about, it's about helping them teach a man to market, teach a man to fish.
Yeah.
And so I'm only there as long as they need me, and then I'm gone. I've had one client for 3 years. I have some clients for 3 months. It just depends upon what they need me for. Yeah. And so that's why the Nanny McPhee really works, because it gets that conversation started.
Well, and metaphor is always an effective way to get your point across, right? So that's kind of what you use there, is the metaphor of Nanny McPhee. I have something similar. I don't know if it's as effective. I'm probably have to do a little bit, but I always tell people I'm my client's fairy godmother. I put, because of the impression that fairy godmother, and actually, so I've had taken some branding photographs of me waving a wand. It's it's fun, right? We need to bring out the fun in what we do. Well, that's so interesting, because like I feel like you stated those 4 things that people do wrong sometimes when they're saying their pitch, but I feel like there's that 5th one that you just said right now, which is people will go, how do I explain what I do? Okay, let me think. That's like a 5th one. Like, it happens. People really get stumped about their own pitch.
Yeah. And it's funny because when I work on the networking strategies, or the strategies, and I add networking into the strategy, most business owners are like, well, it's not my favorite thing to do. And I was like, why? They're like, I don't know what to say. I go, do you not know what you do every day? They're like, well, of course I do, but I don't know how to say it. So the rebel mindset aspect that I have is that marketing is storytelling.
Yeah.
And selling is telling that story to other people. That's it. It's as simple as that. Where everybody gets stuck is they don't know their story. And so that's where I come in and I help them figure out their story. I help them figure out their strategy. I help them figure out those types of things. And I get down to that. Why did I start this business in the first place?
Yeah.
Because that is your superpower. That's where your strength lies.
Yeah, 100%. I totally agree. The why is so important. And it's not enough to think about what the superficial why is, but to really dig deep, the why, and what's the why to the why. And then really maybe what's the why to the why to the why that. Yeah. So I think that is really, really key. And I love that you do that with your program. You talk about marketing being a mindset. Can you explain that statement?
Marketing is absolutely a mindset, because if we only think of it as a task to be done, or we only think of it as like a line item on an expense sheet, it becomes a task. And nobody likes to do tasks, but people do like to be heard. They like to promote their business. And so if you think of everything that you do in a day, like the one thing I've said this on so many different podcasts when I'm a guest is that, when's the last time that you listened to the greeting on your voicemail on your phone, on your cell phone? And I've had people go like, oh, that's the first thing I'm going to do, because I don't remember the last time I did that. And so it's like everything that you do is marketing, making sure that if you're a guest, you have a decent microphone. Like everything that you have is something to do with how you're being perceived by other people. Again, it is absolutely your physical appearance, but it's also the confidence and smiling and showing passion in what you do and thinking about what you're going to say, not just show up and go, I have no idea what we're talking about, so let's just go. But really think about, like, this person's going to ask me this question. How do I want to be perceived? And for me, it's always going to be about how I am perceived by other people. And not like, oh, does she like me? Oh, it's not that. But like, if I want to be known as the rebel, I mean, a lot of the stuff that I do, I'm wearing black leather jacket or a red leather jacket, or got red streaks in my hair. And I'm absolutely positively honest with the client, because I believe one of the things that we also make a mistake is that saying that the customer is always right. The customer is not always right. If they were always right, then they wouldn't need us as consultants.
Yeah.
And so being honest with them, if I don't believe, if clients ask me to do something marketing wise that I don't believe is going to work, I will tell them no. And then I will tell them why I don't think it works.
Hmm. Yeah.
And then we have a conversation about it. So it's never just a no. It's a, that would be fine, but let's talk about like what was actually going to work out in the real world.
Yeah.
And so, but with corporate America, it was kind of like, here's what I want you to do. Go do this. I don't think it's going to work. Too bad. Do it anyway. And then when it fails, it's like, well, why didn't that work? Well,
Yeah, that very insightful, definitely. And it is a mindset. I always like to, first of all, if you can you tell us how people can reach out to you if they wanted to contact you or wanted to continue the conversation around this with them?
yeah, absolutely. Rebelgirlmarketing.com is my website. There's a contact me page on there. Otherwise, you absolutely can find me on LinkedIn or Facebook. I do have business and personal pages there as well. Or simply just Lisa at rebelgirlmarketing.com is my email address. I'm happy to answer any questions anybody might have about creating a pitch that they're really proud of and they look forward to going to networking events.
Yeah, I love that. Everybody needs that. Well, we put all the information in the comments, and this will be live, will be on the Facebook, Waist Up Wardrobe Facebook forever, as long as the page exists. So people will always be able to check out the episode and connect with you. We always wrap up the Waist Up Wardrobe episode with kind of the summary, right? So we want to know if there's one takeaway people should get from today's show, Lisa, what would that one takeaway be?
Be authentic in your pitch and don't say something that everybody else says too. And so find out what that one thing is that differentiates you, because most people say, I don't have it. And you do, because common sense is actually not common. Everybody has different experiences. Everybody has different perspectives. Everybody has a different thought process. And so what is that one thing that differentiates you, and put that in your pitch?
And you were going to be giving out a freemium today with the hashtag pitch and shine. Whoever puts in the hashtag pitch and shine, whether it's on the live show or replay, what are you giving them? Because it was pretty interesting what you said.
So I can give you a physical copy if you're looking for it. I'm happy to mail it out wherever you are, of the Rebel Girls Guide to Marketing book. I also have an ebook. The nice thing about the physical book is that it does have a worksheet after each chapter to apply it to your specific business and your specific self. And then a 45-minute free consult with me.
That's awesome. That's like gold. So thank you for offering that and your time. Yeah. So with the hashtag pitch and shine, put it in the comments, because then that will be a way for Lisa to identify you so you guys can connect. So the next thing I want to ask to wrap up the show is, if, we talked about what the main takeaway is, tools. Are there any tools out there? Maybe it's your book. I mean, I'm sure that there's so much juice to be squeezed out of that. Is there any tools that you recommend as people are trying to form this power pitch?
Yeah. So there's an app out, or a website out there called WordTune, WORD Tune, WordTune. I think it's .com. It might be .org. WordTune. And what happens is that if it's right there and you know how to say it, but you think you need a different way of doing it, I put everything in WordTune. Not everything, but most things in WordTune, to make sure that first of all, I have proper sentence structure, but also like there might be a different way of saying the exact same thing you're trying to say in a way that might be a little bit more clear. So that is a really good one. And then also there's another thing called Headline Analyzer, and it gives you a score. If you're trying to figure out like a sentence or like the beginning of a blog or something along those lines, that just like what's going to really resonate. And it's called Headline Analyzer. So those are two tools that I love to use when it comes to making sure that the verbiage that I've created is resonating with a general audience.
Oh, wow. That's really helpful, because I'm going to go definitely check those out. How about a couple tips for the audience as we wrap up?
So if you're creating a new power pitch, say it in front of people who are honest and will give you honest feedback. Don't say it in front of like, oh, that sounds so nice. Don't do it in front of mom, because mom never wants to like upset you, right? But do it in front of somebody who's going to give you some honest feedback. And especially somebody within your own organization, because one, they already know what you do, but two, they'll say if it makes sense or doesn't make sense to the general audience. So that would be tip number one. Tip number two is, if you have somebody who is working on your marketing and you have somebody who's working on your sales, make sure that they're working together. Because business development is, so many organizations have sales and marketing teams that seem to just combat each other. And I don't know why. You're both on the exact same road, going the exact same direction, yet you're trying to run each other off the road. And that I've never understood. So my tip would be, if you have somebody who does your marketing and you have somebody who does your sales, make sure that they're in alignment. And if they're not in alignment, I can help there too. I've done that from more companies than I want to admit.
That is really important. You want to have that sort of that team play thing going in the right direction, right? Where everybody's kind of on the same page with the same goals. So that makes a lot of sense. And finally, an action item. Say somebody's going to get inspired by the show and go and start doing their power pitch. I mean, you've given us some great tools, some great tips. What is one action item that they can do right now without investing more money, or, just kind of easy?
Show up at a networking event and try it. Because what happens is that, so as I was developing as I was developing the power of your pitch speaking topic, I would actually go out and try different pitches out. And I'd do it, and I'd stop myself halfway and say, okay, I'm trying a new pitch. Obviously that one did not work at all. So can I try it again? And everybody I ever talked to that I did that with, they're like, oh my gosh, I kept struggling with my pitch too. So just go out and start trying something new immediately. And the more you practice it, the more you do it, the more you're humble about it, and the more fun you have with it, you're going to come up with a pitch that really resonates fast. And you're going to have some fun doing it.
Yeah, practice makes pitch perfect, right?
Yep.
All right. Well, that was an amazing conversation. Thank you, Lisa, for being here again with the hashtag Pitch and Shine. You're going to be getting Lisa's book and also time with her to talk about your pitch. So don't miss out on that. Thank you for being here, Lisa. And there you have it. You're welcome. Thank you for being here. There you have it, Waist Up Wardrobe Nation. Another episode of Waist Up Wardrobe, where we really bring you some very hot issues that are entrepreneurial that you can really take and put right into action. The whole goal of Waist Up Wardrobe is to really serve the entrepreneur in every area of their brand and life, and to make it so that we educate you, but also make it fun and exciting, and bring fresh experts and guests who are out there doing this stuff, and them bringing their experience to you. So thank you for joining us. And we're here every Thursday at 11:30 Pacific time. So join us next Thursday and bring a friend. Hi, how was that for you?
It's great. That was fun.
That was
very fun.
Such a great topic. And all these things that you said were so great, just great nuggets. So thank you for educating us, educating me, and having the conversation. I actually kind of love this conversation, the marketing conversation, because I think people have like a view of marketing is very narrow, but they don't realize, like you said, that everything they do is marketing. The way they act in and out of their business is marketing them, right?
Absolutely. Especially when you come under a stressful situation or you make a mistake. I think that what shows people's true colors. If something's like really stressful or you do make a mistake, if you don't just own up to it and be an adult about it, I think that is going to leave a long-term perception of the person that you're working with, whether it's a team member or it's a client.
Yeah. 100%. And, I always say, and I don't know if this is really directly related, but it's kind of reminding me of this, is that, that a great company by how they act when they're faced with the client's problem, not when they're
Yep.
trying to engage them and convert them, that everybody's nice to you then, but when you have a problem throughout the course of the work with them, or something doesn't go exactly as planned, and the way the company reacts to that and how it handles that has so much to say about their brand and really how great the company is.
Yeah. And that goes for leadership as well. And so there's an old saying, and I don't remember which company it was, but somebody made like a $10 million mistake. Like it's like a big, like IBM, like I don't know what the company was, like a huge Fortune 100 company. And they made a big mistake. And so the guy walked in the office and said, I suppose I'm fired. He said, why would I fire you? I just spent $10 million training you. And so it's a great message of, we're human, things happen. How do you perceive it? Yeah. So
Yeah, no,
I agree with you 100%.
That's a great example. Well, thank you for being here, Lisa. Really appreciate it. And love to stay connected, maybe through social media, LinkedIn, or I don't know if you're on Instagram. Would love to connect with you there. And I've been, excuse me, I've been interviewing some really amazing entrepreneurs in the last, I would say, this beginning of this year. I mean, I've always had some great entrepreneurs, but they were more within my circle. Now I'm really connecting with people from outside of my sphere of influence. And I'm getting this idea that I want to connect everybody. So I'm thinking of kind of building a hub, maybe through Circle or something else where we can, kind of bring the community of people together. So if you don't mind, if I end up doing that, which is probably going to happen by, sometime this year when I stop taking on projects, I would love to reach out to you and see if you'd be willing to be part of that group.
Absolutely. Please do. Yes. I would love to stay connected. It's so funny because I think you and I could probably have a very long conversation offline because we agree on so many things. And not only just because we agree, but it's just people need to know these things. And I just wish I could sit every entrepreneur down and say, perception matters. Yeah. Think before you act.
Yeah. So. I think that sometimes people, they look at that as it's perception is a superficial thing, but the truth is that perception is what makes us human. That's how we protect ourselves. That's how we think, like we connect with people. It's like, how do you feel around somebody? How do you feel about how they're acting, the way they look, the way they're, their body language? That is part of human nature. And that's how we are wired to protect ourselves, right? So perception is important.
Yeah, it is literally an innate brain trait that was put in us for protective matters. You're 100% right. And I think that's why it's important for those first impressions matter, because people very rarely don't forget about the first impression. They'll remember you for one thing or another. Sometimes it's not always positive. But if it's a choice, in my opinion.
Yeah.
We get to choose how we want to make a first impression. It's not how other people perceive us. That's not in our control, but what we can control is how we show up.
Absolutely. 100%.
Yeah.
So thank you for being here, and I'll be in touch. Hopefully we can stay in touch, and I'll let you know when I build that community. There's some just amazing guests that I've had this year that are outside of my circle. I mean, not to minimize anybody I've had before. Everybody's been so amazing, but this year, because I'm going outside of my sphere of influence, I'm just meeting people all over the country that are just really great experts in their field. So,
and I truly appreciate being on. I love this kind of stuff. It's so much fun having conversations like this.
Yeah, well, you're natural, so it was fun. All right. Well, have a great rest of your day. Thank you, Lisa.
Thanks. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Rick, are you still there, or did you leave? Did you ditch the show?
No, I'm here.
Yeah, usually you come on when the guest is still here. Why aren't you wearing
I'm here.
Why aren't you wearing your branded Waist Up Wardrobe hat?
Oh, because I was painting.
Oh, and you didn't want to get it dirty, right?
And I rushed in.
Ah.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Speedy recap.
Yeah.
Okay, when you're ready.
Do you think I can get this speedy recap today? Keep it fresh, because
Tonight, not today, but tonight.
okay. And you haven't done any bloopers. Those are the best.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
I'll work on it. I'll work on it.
Okay. All right, let me go ahead and get started here. So, how powerful is your business pitch? So, how powerful would you say is your business pitch? Wait, I'm going to start over again. Sorry. Okay. So, how powerful would you say is your business pitch? Is it engaging? Is it interesting? Is it ho hum? Well, how would you love to have a power pitch so that anybody that listens to you is engaged and captivated from those first words that you say?
Good. Good.
Good enough?
Yeah.
Okay,
Mhm.
cool. Okay. In episode 133 of Waist Up Wardrobe, The Power of Your Pitch, we talk about, okay, scratch that. Power of your pitch. Okay. In episode 133 of Waist Up Wardrobe, The Power of Your Pitch, the Waist Up Wardrobe weekly wrap up, in a nutshell, boil down to this. What is the main takeaway? The main takeaway is always in your pitch, you have to be authentic. You don't want to say too much and you don't want to say too little, and you don't want to be too technical either. There's so many little things you need to pay attention to, but the key is you need to be authentic to who you are, and you have to pick the thing that makes you different than your competitor to highlight in your pitch. Some tips to remember. I have to start that part over too because I have to. Okay. Some of the tips that our expert gave on this episode was to remember when you're practicing your pitch, remember to practice it and get the feedback from people who will be honest with you. You don't want people like your mom who's going to tell you, oh, honey, you're great. You really want some honest feedback so that you can come out with a powerful pitch that engages people. A tool to remember is there is this tool called, I have to start over. I forgot the name, WordTune. One of the tools our expert highlighted was a tool called WordTune. This is the tool that you can go into, and once you've formulated something, you put it in, you feed the data in, and it tells you how impactful your, hold on. So tool. One of the tools our expert highlighted was the tool of WordTune. Use it to feed it data on what your pitch is that you formulated and see what it tells you in return. See if it tells you if you're effective or if you could do it any better. It's a great tool to use, so go ahead and try it. And finally, action item. Remember, forgot what the action item is. Perfect. What did she say? Do you remember what the action item was?
No, I should probably write stuff down like that.
I'm writing it down, but it's like chicken scratch. So I literally cannot do that. That is the problem. Okay. Okay. Well, I can come up with an action item. Okay. So finally, action item. Sit down and brainstorm with your potential power pitch, right? Write down everything that you think makes you different and unique, and then start honing that conversation, making it interesting and making it sort of catchy. Use metaphors to do it because that always gets people interested.
Okay. Yep.
Good enough, or should I try it again?
Maybe the call to action at the end.
The action item, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay, do it again.
Yeah, just that part.
Okay. I think she said practice. That was the action item. Is that what she said? Okay. Yeah, this is what she said. Okay, and finally, action item. Our expert gave us this amazing advice that when you formulated your power pitch, you go into your networking groups and you start testing it. You start putting it out there and seeing if it is effective, if people are getting what you do, if they're engaged, if they want to learn more. That's how you come up with your perfect power pitch, because practice makes pitch perfect.
Ooh, I like that.
I really want it.
All
Did
right,
you listen to the show, or are you actually painting during the show?
No. I was painting earlier. I came home to do the show.
Oh, okay.
Now I'm going back to go paint.
You want to cut the feed?
Yeah.